Are you going home or are you going to jail after your initial appearance in federal court? Your initial appearance in federal court is where a judge decides if you're going to be released on bond or if you're staying in custody. One of the most important factors in this decision that the judge makes about your freedom is a pretrial report that's prepared by Pretrial Services / probation. Before defendants are released or detained after their initial appearance, the court reads something called the pretrial report. If you don't understand why it matters, you could be caught off guard. So prior to the initial court appearance, usually on the same day, if you are in custody, somebody in your family is going to receive a call from Pretrial Services. They're going to say that they're with probation or Pretrial Services and they're calling about you. Most family members are taken by surprise. They don't know whether they should talk to this person or not. They are gathering background information, what they want to know and how they are going to determine whether they're going to recommend bail or no bail, meaning you stay in custody during your case. They want to know what your ties to the community are and whether or not you're a flight risk or a danger to the community. So they're going to do a background. They're going to pull up your rap sheet, see if you have any priors, failures to appear, things like that. But they're also going to ask about your family who lives in the community and whether or not there is somebody in the household or somebody in the family unit who is going to vouch for you by way of either a signature bond, which is like a promissory note, and they're going to say, yes, if you don't show up for court, I'm going to pay the court $50,000 or some amount, some unknown, undetermined amount at this point. Or if somebody has equity in a property, are they willing to deed the property over to the court? So these are called unsecured and secured bonds. Those are the ways that we can bail people out in federal court. We don't use bail bondsmen. So that's why it is essential that a family member is aware that somebody's going to call and they're going to ask, are you willing to post bond for this person? You're not going to go hire a bail bondsman for 10% of whatever the bail amount is. We don't know what the bail amount is. We make an offer or a proffer to the court and say, this person is willing to sign a $50,000 signature bond, or all these people are willing to sign bonds, or this person has a home. The other important thing is knowing where you live and whether your family is close by or whether you have close relatives in another country, sometimes in another state, although that can usually be dealt with. But if you have close ties, say, to Mexico and you're traveling across the border all the time, if you're not a citizen, all of these things are going to factor into the court's decision about whether you're going to be released or not. If you are out of custody and Pretrial Services calls you, of course, the smart thing to do is say, wait a minute, should I even talk to this person? Call your lawyer, and your lawyer should say, yes, you should talk to this person. Give them the information they want. They are not going to talk to you about their case. They are not going to ask you if you did it. They are just going to get background information. Then, when we get to court, a report is prepared. Each of us gets a copy of the report, meaning the defense counsel, the prosecutor, and the judge. The judge is usually back in chambers reading these reports when we get to court, and then the judge will come out and we can address any issues, any things that may be incorrect in the report, anything that we may want to add to the report. Perhaps we've gotten another surety since the report was written, and so we bring that person to court and have that person tell the court, yes, I am willing to sign for this person. I believe they are going to show up. So that's why it is critically important to be prepared for this pretrial report interview. It is a pretrial report that is prepared, but it is based off of an interview. If they have no information, if a defendant or a family member refuses to talk to the Pretrial Services officer, then the judge is not going to grant bail because they're not going to have any information about this individual except what the lawyer proffers to the court during the hearing. Sometimes that works. Usually they'll want to continue the bail hearing so that the Pretrial Services officer can gather the information and they present it to the court because they are an independent third party who makes recommendations to the judge. The recommendation can also include an electronic monitor. It can include computer monitoring, phone monitoring. It can include drug testing. It can include any number of terms. Your travel is usually restricted to the district where your case is unless you live in another district or you need to travel for work. All of these things need to be established at the initial appearance. Generally, if the court grants bond, If you are in custody, you will be released almost immediately, usually by 5 or 6 o'clock that evening. And if you are out of custody, you will have to go down to the marshal's office, have a headshot and fingerprints. It's called book and release, and then you get to go home with your family. So that is the process of what happens with respect to bond, with respect to the pretrial report at your initial appearance. And most people aren't expecting it. So in a nutshell, a pretrial report is going to help the judge decide whether you're going to remain in custody or be released, which is why it's so important that you be prepared for this report. If there is another part of the federal court process that you'd like me to explain, please leave a comment and I will try to get to it in another video. So if you or someone you know is facing federal charges, reach out now. I'm sure we can help you.